Hey, folks, welcome to Irish Football Weekly, where we talk Notre Dame football here on the Grueling Truth. I am Josh Benjamin, one of the hosts. My other host is Tony Hunter, a former tight end for the Irish from 1979 to 83, was also a first-round draft pick by the Buffalo Bills. All you loyal listeners out there, you know where you can find us. But those newbies, you guys can find us on our website, thegruelingtruth.net, and you can also find us on Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Music, and, of course, Spotify now. Well, Tony, how's it going today?
It's going well, Josh. Beautiful day here in Cincinnati. Sunshiny anyway, but it's going well. And I tell you what, I don't remember the last time I've enjoyed a college football season the way I've enjoyed this college football season. Notre Dame's 9-0. We're currently ranked number 3 in the polls, and things are going very, very well. Although, I tell you what, they drive me crazy when I watch them play. I do want to say that. Notre Dame drives me crazy when they play because they seem to play at the level of the competition that they're facing. And that can be dangerous. The better the team, the better they play. So that's a good thing. But they just seem to always play at the level of competition that they're facing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with basically what all you said there. And the Irish just played Northwestern. They had to travel over there and beat those guys. They beat them 31-21. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Florida State coming up here, coming up to South Bend in that frigid weather, according to them. 4-5 Seminole team. Yeah, so we might have some home field advantage when it comes to the weather. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Irish in general and with the 3 games remaining, what's gonna happen in our opinion. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about Northwestern briefly here. They win 31-21, like you said. They kind of play to their opponent's level, and they added on a touchdown at the very end to kind of make it a 10-point game. But Ian Book looked pretty decent again, of course.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought Ian Book was very impressive against Northwestern. I think, 22 of 34, 343 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked sharp. I thought our running game, I think we can pick that up a little bit. Dexter Williams, 19 carries, 56 yards and a touchdown, only 2.9 yards per carry. So we need to step up with the running game a little bit. But as far as the receivers were concerned, I'm still waiting on Miles Boykin to be more consistent. He had a breakout game. He had a breakout game, but to be more consistent, I think he had 4 catches for 54 yards, which is 13.5 yards per catch. It's just that's average. But Chase Claypool ended up with 8 catches, 130 yards, 16 yards a catch. That's a big game. So with Claypool and Boykin, big, tough receivers, I think they can create a lot of problems downfield. And also Fink. Fink ended up catching 5 catches for 45 yards. Anytime you're a receiver and you catch 5 balls in a game, that's not a bad day.
Definitely not. And to go on with what you said there were 3 receivers that had 4 or more receptions, which is really good. I mean, they spread the ball out as well. They had 6 different receivers catch a ball, and to the rushing attack there, they had 4 guys rush the ball, and 3 of them, had over 15 yards of rush, or 15 rushing yards, I should say, with Ian Book having a little bit more of the rushing yards. I haven't seen that out of him just a whole bunch yet, which I'm actually glad to see that. So it gives us another way of keeping the defense, quote unquote, honest and making sure that they have him, spied and kept an eye on. So that's pretty crucial.
You definitely have to account for Ian Book's running ability, his escape ability. So that's definitely something that defenses need to think about as they prepare for us.
And I want to jump to the defense here quickly. So you talked about Tony Pry Jr. coming back a couple weeks ago in our show, and this past week he had 2 pass breakups, which in total they had 5 total, which in my opinion, I don't know what kind of stat that means as far as having 5 pass breakups in the secondary, but I think that's a pretty decent amount with the amount of hurries and interceptions that could be possible. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, you mean Troy? Is it Troy Pry? Troy Pry Jr.? Yeah, he's a really good athlete. I think he's a really good athlete. He's got good quickness, and he has good cover skills. So when he came back from injury, I was glad to see that because I thought we were having some trouble at cornerback in some of the previous games. But, yeah, I like him as a cornerback. I really do.
Yeah, and as they jump into this next game here, which is their last home game against the Florida State Seminoles coming up on Saturday, November 10th. It's a night game, 7:30 p.m. It's on NBC, of course. And they play a Seminole team that's 4-5, that's struggling to find their identity. They got a first-year head coach coming from Oregon, Willie Taggart, and they're just trying to figure themselves out. And actually, kind of ironically, on our Facebook page, there was a Florida State fan that said that they are coming, and he had the Seminoles logo out there on a post that he tagged us in. So thank you all the Notre Dame listeners, but also those opponents are also on there as well. So thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah, you know what? I checked the weather up in South Bend today. It's 37 degrees today up there. So Florida State's going to leave that 80-degree weather down there in Florida and Tallahassee and maybe go up to some 20, 30-degree weather in South Bend, which has to be to our advantage. That absolutely has to be to our advantage because I don't think those guys want to play in that type of weather. So we just need to be ready. It's always a big feather in the cap of opponents to beat Notre Dame, and especially to beat them at home. So they'll be motivated. Florida State will be motivated. As you said, they're 4-5 right now. Their head coach, Willie Taggart, first year, and he may already be, his job status may already be in trouble. But they've had some injuries on that offensive line. That's where they're having their most trouble. They can't block anybody. And so the Notre Dame defense should be ready to get after that quarterback and make some big plays. They should be ready to try to make some big plays this weekend.
Yeah, I'm eager to see that defense come out ready to go, too. I just want to refer back to what I previously said. I thank the people for watching, which we don't have an actual video show, and I just wanted to let everybody know that they wouldn't want to see us on video anyway. Well, at least I should say myself, due to my radio face. But I digress. Let's go back to this. So they play the Seminoles team this week, and this is their last home game, like I said, before they go on the road to play a couple games in the regular season here. What are some key thoughts, in your opinion, Tony, of what they need to do this week?
You know what I'd like to see here? I mean, here we are. Like I said, we're 9-0. We're ranked number 3 in the country. If they were to play the national championship playoffs today, we'd be in it. We'd have a chance to win it. The only thing that I see that, well, besides the fact that we play up to the level of the competition that we're playing against, I'd like to see Book and his receivers get a little more consistent, as well as Dexter Williams and that running back core. I'd like for those guys, these last few games, to try to pick it up and put some good, strong games together. Be consistent over these next couple of weeks going into the playoffs because, you know, as a former player, I can remember a Coach Kelly, who was a linebacker coach when I was at Notre Dame, and one spring we started practice, and we started off hitting right away. And, I mean, it was just kind of a shock to our system. And I remember Coach Kelly saying, you guys, you can't just turn it on and off like that. You have to get yourself ready to play. I mean, you have to be ready to play when that whistle blows. And that's true even about the playoffs. You can't go into the playoffs, into that level of competition, kind of being inconsistent, up and down. I like to see us string together the last few weeks, string together some good, strong games, both on offense and on defense, and go into the playoffs playing our best game, playing our best football.
Yeah, and to add to that, I'm sure Coach Kelly and that coaching staff is preaching essentially, we're going to worry about ourselves. We're going to worry about what we do. Of course, they're going to game plan and figure out the tendencies and different coverages to run and different plays to run against that defense. But I think it's more of a self-scout, more of a find out who we are type of mentality the next couple of weeks. And if they do what they need to do, which is win, of course, but win convincingly, I think there's no issue of them getting in the college football playoff rankings there in the top 4 and being able to make a statement nationally.
Yeah, definitely. I can't see. I mean, if we take care of business and win out, I just can't see them not allowing us to play for a national championship. I just can't see it. But the last time we played for a national championship was 2013 when we played Alabama. And, to be honest, we were embarrassed. But I think this Notre Dame team is a little different in that they play, according to the level of the competition. And they seem, if you go back to the Michigan game, that was one of the better games we've played all year long. And Michigan right now, I think they'll beat Ohio State. I really think they'll beat Ohio State this year. And I think they have a really good chance of also getting into that playoff, college football playoff picture. But the way we play Michigan is, I think, the way we can play in Alabama, or we can play, the top 5, 10 teams in the country. But I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we definitely will. And speaking of top rated teams, top 5, top 10 rated teams, we got our 3 toughest picks for the week here as we move on in Irish Football Weekly. Tony, the margin has decreased to 1 game. Okay, so
I'm surprised.
Well, I'm not, because of how I'm probably gonna end up being last again. Well, second to last, I guess, if you count 2 out of 2 there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm trying. I just haven't been able to watch much football besides Notre Dame. But I'll tell you what, it's been a crazy year. I just watched the highlights and. But the picks for this week, what are we doing?
Well, we have a team that you just mentioned there, Ohio State. They're number 10 in the nation. They travel and they play at number 18 Michigan State. Who you got this week? I'm going to see Sparty, up at Michigan State. That's going to be a tough game. It'll be a tough game. Michigan State has always played well at home. But I think Ohio State is trying to get ready to beat Michigan. And I think Ohio State will be ready to play. I'm going to take Ohio State. Yeah, I'm going to take them as well. I think they have a chip on their shoulder a little bit, and they're going to play, lack of a better term, angry, and with some fire underneath them, and they'll come out, and I think they'll beat Michigan State. Okay, number 2 game is number 24 Auburn is going to travel to Georgia, who's number 5 in the nation.
Oh, yeah. That'll be a good game. That'll be a good game. But I think Georgia is playing good. I think Georgia will take that. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're so close that they don't want to fall back any further and not be able to contend for that college football playoff, because they could end up playing Alabama and beating them, and they could put them right in that college football playoff mix there. So
you're right about that. That'll be a good game. That'll be a great game, Georgia Alabama this year.
We have our last game here. It's a big one in my opinion, but definitely for the Irish. Number 2 Clemson goes to number 17 Boston College.
Interesting. Very interesting. But, to me, Clemson is a lot like Alabama. They have these big, strong guys that are good football players. They're deep. They're fast. I think they'll be a little bit too much for Boston College, even at home.
All right, so you took Clemson. Well, I want Clemson to lose for obvious reasons. So I'm going to cheer like heck that Boston College comes out with the win because that's who I'm taking this week. And so that could be the deciding factor. That could be putting us back at even here. But we'll find out here sooner or later.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Boston College will come out and give them a great shot. I think they'll come out swinging, no doubt about it. But I just think Clemson just has so much talent, so big and so strong. So we'll see, though. We'll see.
Yes, most definitely. And speaking of big and strong, we have our Irish prediction time here. Tony, what's your final score of the Irish Seminole game this weekend?
Irish Seminole game, okay, because Florida State is struggling and because Notre Dame is sitting in such a nice position, I think we'll be ready to play. And I think the weather is going to be cold. And I think Florida State would probably be somewhere on the beach in Florida. I'm going to say Notre Dame. We've been putting up some points. 42. Notre Dame, 42. We're going to put up some points. And I think we're going to hold Florida State to 14.
All right, so you have 42-14 there. Irish win. I'm pretty similar. I have the Irish scoring 35 points and Florida State losing a 35-17 ball game. So definitely it looks like the Irish are going to dominate in our eyes. So hopefully they turn it on and then play to their caliber, their level of play, like we've talked about before. So all right,
for sure.
Well, Tony, it's a good show today. Talked about the Seminoles, talked about Northwestern in that game a little bit, talked about the Irish finishing off here the regular season and everything in between. So good show today.
It's been a blast. Yeah, it's been a blast to watch these guys. Call them the cardiac kids sometimes because they make me run out of the room sometime when I'm watching them. They just drive me nuts. But the thing I love about them, and then we'll end, but they find a way to win, Josh. That's the thing I love about them. No matter how they played all game long, when it comes time to win the game, they figure it out, and they find a way to win. So that's beautiful.
And that's what's most important, in my opinion, is if they can find a way to win, they can do that in any type of game, any opponent, and things like that. So
exactly.
That's definitely spinning it to a positive, which I like to do as well. So awesome, Good deal. Well, that's our show for this week on Irish Football Weekly. Don't forget to check out our website, thegruelingtruth.net, which has multiple shows besides ours. You can also find us on Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all those different medias. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, searching Irish Football Weekly. You can also find Tony and I on Facebook on our own profiles. And, of course, I have Twitter at CoachJB4. All right. Well, for my co-host, Tony Hunter, this is Josh Benjamin signing off for Irish Football Weekly. Go Irish. Peace.
Go Irish.